We'll call the meeting in order. Will you please rise for the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just want to let everybody know that we're trying out again this new device that's a 360-degree camera. Just wanted to give everybody that information.
Don't let it scare you.
And for anybody who's afraid to come up to speak because there's a camera there, it's viewing the whole room. So you're already.
Okay. Approval of minutes.
So I have the February 2026 town clerk's report. I have the February 9th special meeting minutes, the February 19th town board minutes, the March 3rd special meeting minutes, and the March 10th public forum minutes.
Can I get a motion on the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Bills?
General Bill 2262 through 22306, Highway Bill 22307 through 22320, and Water Bill 374 through 377.
Can I get a motion on the bills?
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor? Warren?
The only thing I have, public session was a resolution that I had prepared. You have a copy of that?
Mhm.
And that was the resolution regarding automated, license plate reader and public safety camera technology. Someone from the board want to read it, or?
You want to read it, Mike?
Of course I do. A resolution regarding automatic license plate readers and public safety camera technology. Whereas the town of Pine Plains is committed to supporting its police department with modern tools that enhance public safety and assist in locating missing persons, investigating crimes, and protecting the community. And whereas the use of automatic license plate reader systems and other networked public safety camera technologies raises important public policy considerations related to privacy, data governance, and records retention, cybersecurity, and public transparency. And whereas such technologies create the town records and data that must be maintained in compliance with the applicable laws, including to the New York State Archives LGS1 records retention and disposition schedule. And whereas the town board is responsible for establishing policies governing the town infrastructure, data management, and long-term financial commitments. Now therefore be resolved that that no town controlled automatic license plate reader or networked public safety camera system shall be activated or operated unless and until the town board has reviewed and adopted policies governing its uses, and be further that resolved any contracts or agreements related to the purchase, management, or operation of such technologies shall be executed by the town supervisor only after authorization by the town board. Whew.
It was a short one, though.
Is that clear? You got idea? Yes. Okay.
So what are we? The ones that are already in the police cars?
Ones that are already passed by the board, it's been approved of. If those are approved of, then they're safe.
Yeah.
It's the whole issue here is,
No, I understand that part, but I'm just asking the question because it said that no town-controlled automated license plate readers or network public safety systems shall be activated or operated unless and until the Pine Plains Town Board has reviewed and adopted policies governing its use. That's why I'm asking the question.
Right, as long as that the current equipment has been approved of and there's an existing policy on their use, then there's no issue.
Okay. I want to hold that vote off until after public comment, because I do know there are some people here that would like to speak.
okay,
And then we can go right into that vote under new businesses, if everybody's okay with that.
No, I'm all right with it.
are we
Sure.
doing the resolution relating to petty cash or no?
But we did that last.
No, you didn't get it to us last time, so we had to.
That's what I.
Wondering about that.
So this one is
Yes.
for the justice
You have
court.
to-
I do.
Okay, so
Yep.
we can vote.
Yep. You got it?
We established a authorization for petty cash.
For the town.
For the
justice.
justice.
Town justice.
Yes.
The only wrinkle in that is, once you pass it, it has to be approved by each town justice, before it's implemented. But otherwise, it's pretty much identical to the resolution we passed for the, sessions hall.
Right.
Assessor, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
The tax collector.
Tax collector.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Resolution establishing petty cash funds for the town of Pine Plains Justice Court clerks pursuant to Town Law 64-1A. Whereas the town of Pine Plains Justice Court has two town justices, Evis Guzman and Rich Brenner. And whereas Patty Koch serves as the court clerk for Justice Guzman and Mary Boyle serves as the court clerk for Justice Brenner. Whereas the town board has been informed by the two court clerks that their offices are in need of petty cash funds. And whereas Town Law 64-1A authorizes the town board to establish by resolution a petty cash fund and use of cash box for the office of the Justice Court clerks in advance of audit of properly itemized and verified or certified bills for materials, supplies, or services furnished to the town Justice Court clerks for the conduct of affairs and upon terms calling for payment to a vendor upon delivery of materials or supplies or the rendering of any services provided. The monies in such fund may be used for purposes of making change when it is required in the performance of the court clerk's official duties. Where this is a type 2 under seeker, which does not require environmental review. Now therefore, resolved that the town board hereby authorizes the establishment of petty cash funds and the use of a cash box in ordinance with provisions of the town law 64-1A, not to exceed $500 for each of the justice court clerks, subject to the approval of the two town justices, and be further that the petty cash funds may be deposited in the petty cash box and that funds shall be utilized and administered in full conformity with the requirements set forth in the 64-1A, a copy of which is annexed hereto.
Can I get a motion to accept this pending the approval of the two justices?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Supervisor Walsh.
Aye.
Councilwoman Birdshaw.
Aye.
Councilman Rouse.
Aye.
Councilwoman Cisco.
aye.
Councilman Walsh.
Aye.
So will the justices have to like write me a letter that say that they both approve of
Yeah,
this?
just ask them.
Okay.
Send it on to them and just ask them to each confirm
Okay.
that they're approved it.
Thank you.
You have stuff for executive
That's fine.
section?
Executive session, I think we may have some issues that may be raised tonight. And I do have to talk to you about a couple of tax tertiary cases. Shouldn't be too long, but after the meeting, we should go in executive session. I think we have our assessor here.
Yes. Yes. All right, we're gonna move into public comment. One thing I had is just to let everybody know there's a burn ban in effect from March 16th to May 14th. Janine?
I wanted to say thank you for removing the Christmas trees to Carl and Ebis and Matt Zick. And there might have been volunteers from the high school that I'm forgetting to mention, so I apologize. Also, thank you to the CAC for organizing the big night. I think we're gonna hear about that later. Thank you to Ray Trikowski and Brian Walsh and Choice Words, our grant writing company, and community members for the work towards submitting the TAP grant for sidewalks, drainage, lighting, crosswalks. The grant was submitted Thursday, the 12th. So now we just wait. The library is having a book sale. The book sale is May 23rd through 25th. Books can be dropped off, donation of books can be dropped off at library hours from April 11th through May 9th. Please, only books that are in good condition, no textbooks, no outdated material, and no damaged books, please. And I have a statement that I would like to share. I'm your elected official. It is not only my intention, but my responsibility to honor your input in making decisions in our town. I appreciate your input, your ideas, and I am committed to representing you. This includes your ideas for how our town should progress, address our collective and individual needs, and most importantly, how you want your tax dollars spent. There is a specific process put in place and a law that facilitates this. This process was not followed regarding the Flock initiative. The town council had absolutely no knowledge of this company until it was brought to light on February 3rd, 2026, when pink stakes were placed in the ground in 4 locations, 3 of them on private property. Proper protocol would have involved a presentation to the town board at an open meeting, a public hearing where you, the members of the community, would be given information, have the opportunity to ask questions, share your opinions, and be a valued voice in such a process. If after gathering of public feedback, the town board determined there was public support, the town board would vote. The council members sought information from our supervisor and from the Flock company. Information was not forthcoming. It was not until March 9th of 2026 when the town council members received information, including emails and recorded telephone conversations between our supervisors and Flock. Then we did understand some of those details that began on November 25th, 2024, and then leading up to February 3rd of 2026. The review of the emails and phone conversations answered some of our questions. We have enough information to know that proper protocol was not followed. Information was withheld, and that there were serious missteps. It is important for you to know that New York State Public Officers Law, Article 2-17, Section 36 states that a town board, supervisor, and/or council members do not have the authority to discipline or dismiss an elected official. Regardless of that fact, this is not our intent. Instead, we are committed to moving forward. We will continue to ask questions, review protocol, procedure, and seek out precedents regarding how other municipalities have addressed similar situations. This is why tonight we are presenting this resolution that specifically addresses automated license plate readers, ALPR, and public safety camera technology. This issue, the issue that we are focused on, is the absolute necessity for protocol outlined by law. New York State Law, Article 10, Section 4-44, and General Municipal Law, Section 104B, requires goods and services that are not required to be competitively bid to be procured in a manner so as to assure the prudent and economical use of public monies. To reach that objective, town boards by resolution shall adopt internal policies and procedures governing all procurements. The town of Pine Plains has such a procurement policy and procedures. This can be found on the town website under About Us, Laws, E-Codes. What all of this means is that everything related to the flock safety issue was required to be brought before the town board for discussion and approval. To be clear, we are not focused on whether we or you believe that flock safety cameras are good or bad. Our focus is to ensure that the town board, supervisor, and council members, town departments, and committees follow proper and legal protocol. This should never have progressed to the extent that it did without your knowledge and support, and certainly not without the knowledge and a vote from your elected town board. I hope that you can appreciate how much time and energy has been spent trying to understand what has occurred, researching how the situation must be addressed, and what we must do to ensure that this never happens again. And now it's time to move forward.
I have something to read also. Well, once again, Councilwoman Cisco's taking the wind out of my sails. Knew I should have gone first. Since early February, the town board has received a lot of questions about flock safety. I would like to answer some of those questions now. On Tuesday, February 3rd, it was learned that Flock Safety was installing a license plate reader camera on Janine Cisco's property. My first thought was, who authorized that? On February 9th, the board held an emergency meeting to find out what was going on and who was responsible for allowing this to happen. We were told that this was the first time that Supervisor Walsh heard of Flock and that the police department had signed a contract for a trial demo that would be the beginning of an $80,000 two-year contract. We were also told that the contract demo was stopped. We still have not received written proof of that. Armed with the knowledge, we as a group put together a public statement that explained what we learned at that time and believed it to be the truth. However, we would later find out that we were misled. Supervisor Walsh had been in contact with Flock Safety as early as November of 2024. Since that time, there has been communication by both email and video between the supervisor and Flock. The board had received and reviewed emails and audio between Supervisor Walsh and Flock, and from that information, we learned that the communication started with him as early as November of 24. On July 28th of 2025, Flock Safety asked Supervisor Walsh if they can proceed with the demo installation. The supervisor's response was, yes, move forward. No approval should have been given without first consulting the board, who would then decide if this was the right thing for Pine Plains. This could have been resolved early on by being forthcoming with the details. Instead, Supervisor Walsh chose to protect himself by misleading the board with obfuscation and misdirection. We now know the truth, and I personally feel that the town has lost trust in the board and our ability to work together on their behalf. Some are calling for us to do things we are not empowered to do by the state. For the record, the board cannot remove or censure any elected official in any way. We will continue to do our best to bring this situation, which has caused much consternation, to a conclusion. The least of which is to see to it that the town does not employ surveillance and that the town police do not work autonomously, for they too have some culpability in this. I'll be glad to answer any questions about this, either now or later. Is this public comment? Yeah, this is public comment.
Hang on a minute. Do you have anything else? Do you have anything, Murphy?
Yeah, I actually would like to.
Yep.
Also would like to say something. I appreciate both Janine and Kevin. We all have been working, and Brian as well, and Trevor. I mean, the town council members have had to devote a lot of our energy for the past over a month to this one thing. And we have to move on. I personally would like to, we don't sweep it under the rug, but we do move along. We find a way to work together. I believe we have all talked, including Brian. We need to find a way to be open with each other. And Brian, I'm just going to ask point blank, will you share things that come to you with the town council?
Absolutely.
I mean, I think this can be a turning point. You know, we can find, we know that something was done wrong. We need to move on and find the way to make sure that this does not happen again. We need to communicate more, which we are working on. I'm personally working on the website to update the website so that you and we can find out things. I saw at the last public meeting, Sergeant Camber presented a proposal that the police department is putting forward for some AI report writing and translation devices that instantly translate what somebody's saying to you. And that is exactly the way the Flock safety issue should have been presented. So we know how to do it, and we can do it, and we intend to continue in this way. And it's also Sergeant Cameron's birthday. Anyway.
Trevor, did you have anything?
I didn't prepare anything. Thank you to everyone that said something. And, you know, I feel like I didn't want to be on the board to become an investigator. And that's how I felt I've been. And you sit here and you look at how, I think it's been 3 meetings that it's taken us to pass the resolution for the petty cash. And it's like, you do these things by the book, and I've been pulling my hair out of why was this, what happened? Where was the procedure? Where did it all go awry? And I still have no answer for that. And that's what I feel like I'm still searching for. And I don't know if I'll ever have the answer for that, but I would like to keep listening to you and hear your public comment right now.
Good?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna go through the list. If at the end of the list, if you'd like to speak, then you can raise your name and I'll call on you.
I told people that we could jump them if they didn't want to be first or something, but I think Gail about it.
Gail,
Fine with that.
are you good going first? Okay.
Or you want me to stand?
Raise your right hand.
So my name is Gail Mello. I live in Pine Plains, where I'm registered to vote as a Republican. I was nominated and I was honored to chair the Pine Plains CAC, which stands for the Conservation Advisory Council, by board member Kevin Walsh, and unanimously approved by Supervisor Brian Walsh and the town board. I've been able to work very productively during my tenure as CAC chair with Supervisor Brian Walsh, including his decisive action to move towards the finalization of the CAC's proposal to expand all lake swimming access for adults from our beach, and his enthusiastic support of the CAC's grant writing when he joined with board member Janine Cisco to give us help from Choice Words, Pine Plains Grant Writing Service. We're close to receiving final state approval. We'll talk about that later. I personally was so proud that we in Pine Plains elected both the Republican and Democrats to our town board. That's the way I thought small towns could and should act, by pulling together across differences to advance our town. Reading the transcript of Brian Walsh's conversations with the authoritarian styled surveillance company, Block, I was horrified. I think Brian Walsh betrayed our town. The report quoted a transcript of his actual words, not someone's memory. Walsh lied to our community, and I think in doing so smeared dirt on the honor of serving the town. He repeatedly denied taking any action to produce surveillance cameras. When that lie didn't work, he shamefully tried to place blame on a retired Pine Plains police officer for signing the contract. For me, most damning of all is that he allowed national politics to pollute our town government. A February 10th article in the newspaper The Guardian confirms that the Flock organization operates 90,000 cameras across 7,000 networks, many of them consciously placed in schoolyards. One of its programs focuses on small towns like Pine Plains as a way to expand federal control and smother dissent in rural communities under the guise of safety. I don't feel safe when every man, woman, and child in our town is going to be photographed, and no one knows exactly who has access to that or what it will be used for. Frankly, I didn't really believe this was Brian Walsh's idea. I'm personally assuming, with no evidence, that he's taking guidance from other higher-ups in Dutchess County and New York State. I'm outraged and saddened by Brian's underhanded and deceitful action. He brought shame to the office of supervisor. Thank you.
Diane? Willis?
Diana Willis, I'm like, whoa, there's a lot of people in the room. I'm not gonna talk. I'm a 20-year resident of Pine Plains. The first quarter of this board's work was as impressive as I have seen. So much accomplished in so little time because they all work together. I'm not speaking tonight about how the town could be much more informed and transparent about these accomplishments, which will be widely celebrated as they reflect the priorities of both parties and expressed in various venues. I know they are working on this very hard. I want to request in that vein that in the future, signed contracts of any magnitude are part of what goes on the town board website. I know Murphy's going to handle that. But tonight, Brian, I want to register my shame, embarrassment, and sense of betrayal that so many of us feel. What Supervisor Walsh did, how he lied about it, and how he calmly sat before us at the last meeting and looked in the eyes of you all and intentionally tried to derail the sentiment of the town on the subject of surveillance, Democrats and Republicans and independents, all. Additionally, as a former president of the Pine Plains Free Library, and a fierce advocate of quality education for all, heartsick does not even begin to describe my reaction to Supervisor Wall's statement that he would love to take money from the library budget for the contract with Flock. Despite the fact his constituents across parties voted for that budget, as he himself pointed out. There are not enough horrified emojis for me to cover a range of reactions. Many people have something to say tonight. I felt a need to include my voice and to thank my board for representing all their constituents. Thank you.
Robert Lyons.
Robert Lyons, 549 Carpenter Hill Road. As a citizen of Pine Plains, I am against the installation of surveillance cameras in our town, period. I also think the lack of transparency and the disregard for the town's protocols, rules, and laws by the town supervisor around this issue are a significant violation of the important public trust that needs to exist between our townspeople and our local government. A public trust that is further eroded by the town supervisor's efforts to avoid accountability. In combination, these actions could justify a reasonable call for the town supervisor's resignation. However, given the amount of other pressing concerns that the town board needs to address, and the fact that the position of town supervisor is up for election in 8 months, I think the best course of action is for the town board to move forward by strictly enforcing protocols, rules, and laws that govern our town board and to remain focused on issues that improve our town. We can let the voters of Pine Plains decide in November what kind of local government they want and who should lead it.
Sue.
Someone with the last name Hill.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Jill Hill. I'm a registered voter in Pine Plains. Mr. Walsh, I've never met you before, but I am your constituent. And I am appalled at what has been reported in the Herald, as well as your comments and statements regarding the flock surveillance issue. You were elected to serve the people of Pine Plains. You were not elected to surveil the people of Pine Plains. It's clear to me, and it seems to several people in this room, that you have lost the trust of the people through your dishonest actions regarding the flock initiative. Through your denials and outright lies, you have also lost all credibility. Without trust and credibility, you have no influence on this board and no influence in the town. You've lied repeatedly and you got caught. I urge you now to take the next right step, meaning resign from your position as town supervisor. Pine Plains deserves transparent leadership, not dishonest leadership.
Set aside your ego, resign your position, and allow the town to move forward without your bad faith behavior. Thank you.
Could I just have your address? Sorry.
43 Lakeshore Drive.
Ethan DiMaria.
Ethan DeMaria, resident of South Main Street. A couple of things. I did not know Councilman Bursell was doing the website. Stanford is also working on their website because it's equally as atrocious. Please use them as a reference. I would ask that in an effort to communicate that be the gas pedal be put on the website as fast as possible. I serve on 6 volunteer boards, 2 in this town, 2 in this county, and 2 in the state. So I'm very familiar with one thing, and that's the open meetings law. My fellow library board members can reference that I'm a bit of a hawk when it comes to that. I ask that every single one of you, including the town clerk, take 10 minutes to look over the actual verbiage of that law. There's some things that the town board lacks and some things that we're not doing on the website. And I don't know if that's because it's the ease of the website not being used, but it's not particularly arduous. It's not particularly, it's pretty comprehensive. It's an easy read. So if everybody could understand that. To go in a slightly different direction, I have 2 questions following up conversations from last year. Is there any update on the double pole situation going around town, the utility poles and the dumpsters?
Ed mentioned something about that. He got a letter from them and they're starting to work on that. That's
The pole.
all, the poles. Yeah, they're gonna remove them and they're starting.
Right.
From my understanding was, did you talk to Ed about that? Where they're either they were going to pull them, but maybe it was too frozen. There was an option to pull them or cut them.
There was too much snow at the
Yeah.
time. They are working on them. I believe they did Farview. They've removed some already.
Did they pluck them or cut them off?
The one at the end of Farview, I saw they cut,
Yeah, they
but I don't know if they plucked the rest of them.
Who
And-
cares?
and-
Get 'em down.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that from the count that Mr. Keeler did, there was what 88 polls or something, 80
Something, yeah.
something in the
Yeah,
80s
something
number.
like
So
that.
I don't think I think it's going to be a longer process than we hope for in that. In
So
the
then my question would be, do we get to collect the fine,
yeah, that would
Warren?
I'd have to talk to the zoning enforcement
I mean-
to see where we are. There's been disobedience with the law that allows us to impose a fine. We may have to move to that.
Ed said he was giving them a little break because of the cold weather and the snow and everything when we put them into
I mean,
effect.
ultimately, our goal is for them to go. And to that end, you know, they're working on it. I mean, we didn't do it as a moneymaker, so.
Patrick Mitchell, I do believe.
The dumpsters.
Oh, wait a minute, hang on one
The
second.
dumpsters, Ed is still working on doing sort of like a survey on which dumpsters are where and which ones need to be addressed, and it's complicated.
Yeah.
It's complicated because it needs to be a fair process. So that's the last report that I got from Ed.
Carl, do you have something on that?
Yeah.
The dumpsters next to the library building, Carl Travis and his brother are working hard on getting another location. Put away so they're not right there in front of my parking lot, which is
Oh,
the
fine.
store. And
Oh, pharmacy. Yeah, that would be an improvement. Thank you.
That's one step. that we're gonna get. Thank you.
The farm, he needs the pharmacy.
Yeah. Patrick Mitchell.
Hello, everybody. Can you come up here, please?
Just because
Yeah,
the meeting is live streamed.
we haven't bitten anybody yet this year.
Hello, everybody. My name's Patrick. I live up here on Victoria. And I spent 6 years living in Manhattan. And the first thing I want to say is I have nothing but respect for law enforcement and the judges we all trust to be like the arbiters of what's good and bad. The other thing I want to say is I know Brian Walsh would be a good guy. He's my little league baseball coach. So these flat cameras, I feel like a lot of people just don't understand what AI is or where the data is going. And unfortunately, this is like well within my wheelhouse. I've got a bachelor's degree in global business studies and management from Manhattan, and I have a lot of friends who are real into AI, and I know a lot about Palantir. So these flock cameras, the data that it's collecting on everyone that drives past them, it's not just criminals, it's not just bad actors, it's everybody that drives past. It doesn't just, like, they're not just license plate readers, they're if they were, they'd probably be this high off the ground reading license plates. They collect data all the time, 24/7. Whoever's driving by them is being cataloged and their data is being sent through Palantir. Now, Palantir is a company, I'm not gonna get into politics, but their CEO, Alex Karp, outwardly, openly says that his goal is to have drones spray fentanyl-laced urine on his enemies. So that's the sort of, that's their mission statement at Palantir. And
Sounds like a nice one.
my next point. So the nature of AI, it's widely marketed as something that is able to reach consciousness eventually if you just keep feeding it data. And that's a lie. I know AI to be a weapon of deception in the sense that it's not conscious, it's software. It's lines of code that someone has written, and it's there's many cases of it being misused. There's many cases of and back to Palantir. Palantir had contracts with the state of Israel and Palestine, and they issued 2 softwares that the state of Israel used, Lavender and one called Where's Daddy. And this was sold to Israel as something that could help them identify Hamas. And there was many cases of it harming innocent civilians. It was used in drone strikes, missile strikes, killing innocent people and kids. And that's where your data is being sent to and sent through when it's taken from the flock cameras. And then in states where this is already fully rolled out, it's I'm getting a little nervous here, trying to hold on.
Sorry, but your calendar is very, very interesting, so keep going.
But is it relevant?
Well, it is because it's explaining how the systems work and the downside of it, so it's very relevant.
Discussing getting.
It's
It's
public,
interesting.
it's public conference, so.
I'm sorry.
So the those cameras are always recording people, yeah?
Is there a map that shows how many cameras?
Yes.
In the county, because right.
Oh,
you don't
Flock
have-
Deflock,
Yep.
there's haveibeenflocked.com, there's so the map isn't updated every time a camera goes up, so there's one at the end of Cedar Knolls over here, there's one across from the old car.
No, that Cedar Knolls is a traffic cam strictly for gathering information about vehicles passing. There's been a lot of questions about that. A few of those were replaced around the town. They're temporary, and I don't know even know if they're still
They're
there.
gone.
They're
gone,
gone.
aren't they?
They're gone.
Yeah,
gone.
they're replaced.
But
They
there are
replaced
some
the
on
old
private
rubber
property.
tubes that used to go across the road where they count traffic.
There's one
it's-
up
yeah.
here on 82 before the bend by Dam Road. And it's just concerning. Like I said, I lived in Manhattan for 6 years, and it like, you're surrounded by cameras, you're always under surveillance. And the extent to which you think you have privacy, that was the point I was gonna make, is I was taking a business law class and a computer software class at the same time. And I would go to one classroom and the lawyer is telling us that your privacy is your most valuable asset. And then I go to the computer science classroom and they tell us you've never had privacy, it doesn't exist. And the scary part is they're both right. So Yeah, I could talk about Palantir all day and what they're up to, but that's about all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mitchell. Jeff Gom.
Good evening, Jeff Gollum, 69 Route 7. I was asked last month to come to a meeting, but I was on the plane at the time, so I couldn't be here. This week, a few people reached out to me and asked me to speak on behalf of the cameras, not the town board issue. Sorry. Well, a few people upset to keep hearing nothing ever happens in our little quiet town. I started my police career with Pine Plains Police Department many decades ago. And at that time, I did arrest somebody for raping a 14-year-old girl in town. We had a number of assaults, a number of burglaries. Many burglaries didn't get solved because we didn't have this technology. There's nobody sitting behind a laptop watching who's going to Stewart's for coffee 5 times a day and who's buying a pack of cigarettes. But Sarah Ann Wood was in a town smaller than ours, was abducted bicycling home from church and was never found. Now this technology is available. And again, nobody ever thought we'd have a gunman in an occupied high school in Little Pine Plains. Well, we have a 5-year-old 2 miles from here, viciously horrific murdered a few years ago now. But this does happen in our little quiet town. These cameras are throughout the county. I'm sure you read hundreds of flock cameras, plate readers, and quick story on the first LDR license plate reader in Dutchess County was a demo unit given to the state police. They mounted it on a car and they're on the rooftops of some of the Tahoes. So they do go high, they do go low. But this one car had it as a demo. At that particular weekend, there was an arson fire where a mother, father, and 2 children were killed. The investigators developed a suspect, they interviewed him, and both guys vouched they were with each other having pizza, watching movies all night. They never left the house. Well, the technician from the company came in, downloaded the data from the dock camera on that car, and put that vehicle in that driveway right before the fire, and that's why they're in prison. Otherwise, they wouldn't be. So the technology does have a role. And like I said, there's nobody sitting there counting cars or who's doing what. When something happens, they can go back and see who drove through Pine Plains at 3 o'clock in the morning. In the past 2 years, there was 3 examples of large equipment being stolen. Now, I take a big truck. Not a lot of big trucks going through town. But if you had that plate, it'd be a place to start. And I'll close. I mean, technology's out there, whether you want it or not. Everybody that drove here tonight, their car documented their entire ride here and could show you where you're parked in this parking lot. Every car has an internal GPS, and I bet you'll have an easy pass sitting there. And you know, the media from Albany right down Hudson Valley, they discussed this topic and how many towns around us, Red Hook, Rhinebeck, Member County cameras. So if this board is going to go to the media and say Pine Plains has no cameras, that's sending a scary message. Thank you.
I believe the board's gone to the media and said Pine Plains has no cameras.
Well, if you vote on it tonight, that way it's going to be in the paper.
So,
If we what?
right,
That's not, I think you might have misunderstood the resolution that we're,
Yeah.
oh, okay,
But it's
yeah,
a course of action that you guys are going to take.
thank you.
Scary message.
Tyson Clay.
we got some other words onto them.
I stand here and protest. I hate my face on the camera, but nonetheless,
What, you don't like cameras?
no, I wear one every day. Tyson Clay, I have lived here my entire life. I don't have any prepared statement. I thought long and hard of what I was gonna say. It's not all gonna come out, but nonetheless, this community is better than where we are right now. Every person in this room, I want you to look left, right, front, and back. We're all the same. Doesn't matter our skin color, our sex, our race, our religious preference, whatever. It doesn't matter. We work together. I'm not gonna get into politics. Politics is the biggest division from Washington right down to this little tiny town. All right? Doesn't matter if you vote Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative, it doesn't matter. We're better than that. What I do for a living and what I'm gonna say does not reflect for the agency I work for. However, these cameras, the information, I'm talking LPRs, right? Flock is a whole different animal, okay? We're all human beings, we all make mistakes. All right? And these cameras, LPRs will help an officer walking up to a car before he gets to that car or she gets to that car. It provides us information, valuable information sometimes. okay? Information that, it may be a wanted suspect, armed and dangerous. Well, I don't wanna get out of a car, and I don't want any of my colleagues to get out of a car. Pennsylvania State Trooper just got killed last week. Erratic driver. He spots the car, he stops the car, he gets up to the car, never even says a word, gets shot and killed. Okay? Since 2020, law enforcement's been under attack. Unfortunately. My opinion, we're the most scrutinized job out there. And rightfully so. We have a big responsibility. We're held to a higher standard. Absolutely, I agree with that. But that doesn't mean nobody else is held to a higher standard either. Everybody deserves to go home at the end of the day. I've seen some bad stuff in my short career. But nonetheless, these cameras, the information that we look at, we are held again to a higher standard. We can't just give that information out. The information that's given, you've already given to the DMV. You willingly gave it to the DMV. That information's there. Okay, so the information we see is the information you provided. We're just verifying the information to make sure that everything matches. Okay, I'm gonna give one quick example. Something's very simple. License plate reader picks up on a car for a suspended reg. We have to verify if that is truly the vehicle, and we have to verify that information via another program. Once we verify that, we initiate a traffic stop. How many people have been in an accident here before? Show of hands. Pretty much a good majority of people. That individual who doesn't have insurance hits you, who's paying? Your insurance company is paying, right? The person who doesn't have insurance, they're out of the car, they're out. But if you're not at fault, guess what? Your insurance is paying and your premiums are going up. I say the LPRs are good because the LPR sit right in town, car drives by, suspended reg, no accident, nothing like that happens. Oh, stop, no insurance. We have to figure out why they have no insurance. No insurance, good. We figure out why, and we take that person off the road, preventing bad things from happening. Technology's there. Your cell phone records everything you do, every single thing you do. We all accept it. We laugh about it, but your cell phone records everything you do. We all laugh. Oh, it listens to you, and we joke about it, but it's true. Your smart TV does the same thing in the house. So the technology's there. In the law enforcement world, there are policies and procedures in place to prevent misuse of that information by law enforcement. I know we're not going through with the flock cameras, I get that. Again, this community's better than where we are right now. I think we just need to pick up the pieces and move on. We all understand, but we can all work together. It's the same people out there every single Christmas setting up, taking down, parade of lights. It's the same people. Everybody needs to step up to the plate and be a little more of a community. We're better. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brian Coons.
2837 West Church Street.
Can you come up here, please?
Yes, sir. 2837 West Church Street. I gotta start off with my little flock camera incident. I thank Mark back there, your officer, Mark, because he called Tyson, my cousin, and told me, dude, you don't have any car insurance. He said, your license is suspended. I went to California in May to see my nephew graduate. And I had gotten an email that I missed. It said my insurance was up. So my small town insurance company, I just usually go there and I get that email, I go pay them for the whole year. Well, I didn't pay car insurance for 6 months. I had no insurance for 6 months and it came up on a camera. I'm grateful kind of that I got caught. I didn't know it because if I didn't, I would be, when that happens, you have to take your, because it was overnight, it was 101 days. I had to take my truck off the road. I felt like an idiot. I drive to work and my employers are like, where's your truck? I'm like, don't ask. So it took me 101 days. I got my truck back on the thing, but it was valuable for something like that, right? Anyways, I agree with what Tyson was saying, something, what I wanted to say, Sarah and I served for many years on the planning board. And then we served on the town board. Rosie Chase and I, Sandra David, Jimmy Jackson, George Keeler, Rich Brenner, Republicans, Democrats. Warren, you know us. We, everything that we did started with one thing. What is best for the town? We approached everything that way and we accomplished a lot. And I think that's what, the focus needs to be now. Move on and focus on things. I have a list. You know, I love all of you. I told you, right? You call me anytime. You text me all the time, and I text you back. Every single one of you do. And we talk about things just from my experience. You should do that with Sarah, right? But my point is this: I'm gonna give you a piece of paper of all the things that we accomplished, and that's your challenge.
Holding us to a high standard.
Matthew LeBron, maybe? LeBaron?
No relation. First I want to say, hi, everybody. It's a lot of people. 586 Hicks Hill Road. It's a Stanfordville address, but I pay Pine Plains taxes.
And do you vote here?
I do vote here. Yes, I am registered. I just want to say thank you to the board. This is an extremely difficult thing to do. It took a lot of time on top of all the other things that you do. I think it's great. I think also it's important that we rein this conversation in a little bit. This all of a sudden got to talking about safety and concerns around there. This isn't about any of that. This is about public accountability. And this is about trust. And for me and for residents that I'm hearing, it isn't a technology issue itself. It's not a issue of Republican or Democrat. This is an issue about process. And while I appreciate the board being ready to move on, I appreciate we all want to move on. Process makes accountability. Accountability matters. And I'm ready to move on, but I don't think we're quite there yet. And in light of everything that's come up, first I want to say, Brian Walsh, this sucks for you. I know this isn't awesome. We all make mistakes, as many people have said, but we have to make up for those mistakes and we have to re-earn the public trust. That is absolutely paramount to public governance. Now, at minimum, there's concerns about transparency, accountability, etc. But what you found, what we've read in the papers, this is confirmed, this has happened. So I ask, what does moving on mean? And while I haven't heard, I'm sorry, I guess it's implied, I think that's a great start. I'm sorry for lying to the public would be a great start. Now, I have to agree with some of these other folks. I would also consider resignation, and not in a way to disrupt public policy or disrupt anything going on in the town, but to restore public trust. Someone said it's 8 months until the next election. Unfortunately, a lot of damage can get done in 8 months. Thank you guys for your time.
So I would like to answer one of your questions.
Yeah.
Mr. LeBaron. What are we going to do to ensure that this doesn't happen again? I tried to touch on that in my statement. So it's all of our responsibility, each individually and as a group, to ensure that the protocol is followed. And I can speak for myself. Trust me, my eyes are going to be on it. And I think I can speak for other people too. And this is not going to be repeated, not in 8 months and not in 8 years, I hope.
Here.
It's just not just our responsibility, it's also your responsibility. That's why you're here.
Yes.
It's,
And just to be clear, I wasn't saying I don't trust the board to be on it, but I didn't facts remain that things can still happen when you don't know. And that's what's a little troubling here.
Yeah.
that's why I asked Brian in front of all of you, whether he was gonna share his information with us, and he said yes. And you can take him at his word or not take him at his word, that's up to you. But we are moving forward. We're getting to know him, he's getting to know us. The process is gonna be tighter. It's gonna, and more transparent. And we hear you.
Thank you.
Bobby?
Yes.
Thank you.
59 Chase Road. I'm with the camp that thinks you should resign, Brian, and I think that's what is meant by full responsibility. I don't think you're going to resign based on what I know of, based on what I know of your personality, but at the very least, I think you should indicate that you're not going to run again and give the Republican Party a chance to compete in the election, because I'm afraid it's going to be a shellacking if you do. I would, sorry. I would like to say about privacy. I'm sure you're good police officers, but I have two older brothers in Albuquerque, New Mexico, who are multimillionaire attorneys who bust bad cops. And there are a lot of bad cops out there. And when we talk about information technology, there's a chain of custody, people who can access and control data. And the greater that network is, the worse it is for people, bad cops or people who are just have a grudge or something to prove or whatever, not good intention. Let me finish.
Technology can help get those bad cops?
Possibly, unless they.
Cases it has.
Yeah, okay. So I just want to say that, yeah, I think that, I just don't think that, I think that obviously you're trained a certain way and you're focused like I was as a US Army veteran, the 82nd Airborne. I was trained to kill. You're trained to have suspicion. That's intelligent. That's your training. That's the way it should be. But I don't think you guys are the best judge for determining privacy matters. And I don't think Brian, when I listen to that audio, it's as if you were taking leadership from two part-time cops, which blew my mind. Like, two part-time cops are going to inform us about our privacy. So that was particularly upsetting for me. But again, I do think the best thing is to resign. I think last year we had PEC's closing. To me, that was a gut punch. This is a gut punch, and this town is too small to suffer this and not kind of heal. So I think it would help the town heal. And I'm sorry, Murphy, I'm not into just letting it go and move on. I do think there has to be
I didn't
consequences.
say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, or smoothing things over, just going on. I do think that 8 months is a long time, and the trust is just terribly broken. So, thank you for hearing me out.
Okay.
Thank you.
I did not say, let's just let it go and move on. I said, let's move on. You have to work at it.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak?
I was just gonna add a little note that it seems like the law enforcement here, 10 years ago, you get pulled over, the laptop has your NCICs and picture of your driver's license and your criminal record. And I didn't realize that the cameras that went up was just a demo version, but I know that in states and cities where they have the full version, so they've got them to buy the full Palantir package. When you have that software on, when the police have that software, when it's like your whole digital footprint, so it's everything from God knows what, bank accounts and the amount of money, transactions and stuff. And I don't think anyone here has any interest in being a snoop or a creep. It seems like if there was some way to get the software localized, where it wasn't going through this third party, which is Palantir, which is being used for military operations.
Can I ask, Tyson, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Your license plate readers are department owned, and that information stays in your database, correct?
How about ours here in Pine Plains?
I can't speak.
John Hughes? How about our LPRs in the cars?
You have to talk to Axon about that.
Well,
They do.
I mean, aren't you the chief? Don't you know our system?
No, I know it's an Axon plate reader plus camera.
And I know that we have the data down on our computers.
But you don't know if it goes elsewhere.
I'm pretty sure it doesn't go elsewhere.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah, I think,
It's, um,
I think that,
Pretty much for us to see.
I think it could be shared interdepartment wise from where Tyson works to Pine Plains, but it can't, I don't think, it's very hard to get it out of that database.
Depends what LPR, who manufactures.
Yeah,
the LPR.
yeah.
Axon has it, it's only Axon.
Then it's only Axon.
If it's somebody else, some other company has an LPR, that's their LPR, they do not merge.
Yeah, okay,
That was my question to the sheriff's office not too long.
okay. Thank you, Officer
And then
Ferraro.
races, it only stays for a certain amount of time.
yes, that's true too.
Alice?
So, I'm Alice, I'm back in H.O. I live at 10 Silver Hills Road. Where do you want me? Yeah.
Right there is good.
All right, so whereas I do appreciate the new board and I do appreciate you wanting to move on. And try to clear this up and work together.
Move forward.
Move forward, move forward. I get that. But I do want to remind everyone that this administration, not this current board, but Brian as supervisor, has been in this job for 4 years. We have lost so much ground in 4 years, and I come from this not just from being a citizen of this town, a town that I grew up in, big deal, but whatever. I've been here a long time. I also worked for 2.5 years as the secretary to Supervisor Cloud. Back when we had transparency, back when we had action, we were doing things in a progressive, I speak we collectively as Dara and as her secretary. We each had a great deal of work to do, and we accomplished a great deal. When I first heard Brian talk at a Meet the Candidates, he actually said out loud that we needed to dumb things down. And I want to say, we do not need to dumb things down. We need to bring this town back to a level. But number one, people are excited to be here. They're willing to work to make the town better. And we need to involve business. We need to attract businesses. I think it's very much the town supervisor's position to try to encourage business to come into this town. But the long and the short of it is, for 4 years, I'm not so worried about the 8 months of the future before the election. I'm more concerned about the 4 years and that nothing has gotten done. I mean, this new board comes on and we've got a newsletter in 2 months' time. Whereas we were promised a newsletter adamantly. We're having a newsletter, even if we have to send it out through snail mail. Never happened. I think we need to be more particular about who gets nominated to run for this position. I think we should have requirements. When I think about what Supervisor Cloud's office did, we handled the website. We didn't pay someone to do that. We handled the grant writing, and we didn't pay someone to do that either. That was done in-house. You had to be qualified to take that job. And I think we should be choosier, and I really think we should have a resume or somebody with experience. This cannot be a popularity contest. This cannot be a Republican or a Democrat issue. It has got to be a qualified person to take this position. This is a huge position. Your budget's huge. The supervisor has to be in touch with every agency that we have in this town, every committee, every agency, and they should be able to, at the drop of a hat, recall what they said, what they promised, and what they intend to do. Now, Brian, on 2 levels, either number one, you totally forgot that you had had this conversation with flock cameras, or number two, you deliberately kept it from everybody. But either one is a really bad example of leadership. And that's all I'm going to say on this, but I really do think that we need more qualified people to run for this position. And it just can't be a popularity thing because it's not working. But I do thank the new board very, very strongly. I think all the new council people, you're doing a great job. We have progressed so much in the last 2 months, and it's from everybody working. So I do appreciate that. And I really hate to always come up here and complain. But we need to do better. Thank you.
You're welcome. In defense of the board, I'd like to say that this is our 3rd month with the new board.
Yeah.
Under this structure, and we've already put out 2 newsletters. They're coming out once a month. These guys had to go to school the first month, so, got to give them a little bit of a break. I think they were,
Grateful for it. I think that's marvelous.
Yeah, she thanked us.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have anything?
You know, I'm Ian Blount at 599 Bean River Road. Do we have written proof from the clock that the contract is null and void?
Not yet.
No.
Okay, you haven't seen anything around the contract?
No, but
Okay,
I assure you it's null and void, but.
okay. For Supervisor Walsh, has there been any other outreach you've received from tech companies, surveillance companies, anything like that?
No.
Okay. And then it seems like we have a lot of questions around tech. Is there like a tech committee that's focused on the website, on things like this, on the act side? I know we've been kind of putting things together, but
No,
that's
we
something
don't.
we can look into.
We don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's a great idea, but the one thing we lack, and you've heard it here already tonight, is volunteers. You know, we live in a small community. We need more people to step up and help. Like Tyson
Definitely.
Clay said, we need people to be family and be part of this town and make it function. And, you know, if we want to get these little pieces going, we need groups of people to work together. The town board can't do it all, you know? And we frankly, as Janine has mentioned, we've been very distracted. So we do need to get moving forward from this and get to some of those issues that we promised to deal with, and we're trying, we will.
Great.
That's
It sounds like
that's a great
Murphy's-
suggestion.
Yeah, Murphy's been stepping up a lot, it seems like.
She
with
has.
the-
It's on the website.
Yeah, the website, the newsletter, you were at the Axon call, so I do think that's, I'm sure there's people in the audience too who feel the same way about these technology issues, and seems like people want to learn more about surveillance and what's being tracked and how you're being tracked and all that stuff, so I do just put that out there as like an open idea for something we should look into, you know, maybe even getting someone to, you know, come to the library and talk about these issues and how you can kind of protect yourself and your privacy online and out in public. Cool. All right, that's all.
Could you spell your last name for me?
ELAU.
Are you volunteering?
I am happy to be a part of the committee of volunteers.
Jean Valentine Chase, 560 Carpenterville Road. I know that there is an ethics committee for the town. And I'm wondering, if in this situation it's been convened. And, if they haven't been, I'm wondering why not. Because it seems like there is a question of integrity and honesty and all, and I do appreciate what everyone is doing and the idea that we would move forward, but I do think that it's something that perhaps an ethics committee could shed a little light on.
Quite simply, there is, and they have,
And are we going to receive a report?
not necessarily.
Well, why not?
And why not?
Well, it's up to them to decide how they disseminate their information. We have, there is an ethics code, there is law, you can look that up, you can go to you can go see Madeline, she can provide you with it, and it explains in detail how they work, what they require. And we have some discussion about that tonight when we go into executive session.
Okay.
So they are in existence, they are working, and how they use or what they do is up to them, not us.
Okay.
They are a regulated kind of an organization. They follow the code, and as long as they stick to that, then.
All right. Thank you.
And anybody in the town who has an issue with anything that we've done has the ability to go to Madeline, get a form, fill it out, make an official complaint. It's a complicated form. You're not going to like it. Just about have to be an attorney to fill it out, but it does exist, and you can,
Down a turn.
yeah. Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
but he's there for us, no.
What's up? Oh.
I'm Lisa Zayas from Willow Roots. As you know, that I do not speak politically because of what we do beyond the pantry. I am not going to talk about whether Brian, what he did. I am here to look at each and every one of you and realize that there's a human being here. He might have not done what you thought was right, and I get that. At the same time, he's sitting here and he's willing to listen to you. After you get this off your chest, let's hope that they move forward. Let's say, okay, he made a mistake. It's like none of you have ever made a mistake. Not one. Not one of you has one dark skeleton in your closet. I am not here for yes or no. I'm just saying he's sitting here, and as a small town, we are so tiny. And the world is crazy right now. If you're not seeing how crazy this world is, I mean, we are batshit crazy. All right? That being said, this little town has to come together and get, hey, Brian, okay, you said it stopped there with you. He said that, okay? He said that, all right? Let's just say, okay, saying for his resignation is cruel. It's cruel. Would you want to sit up there and have people talk about you like that? My husband and I came here for the beginning when we had the pantry. We had one person yelling that our pantry was totally horrible. She called us out, made all these kind of threats. And all we were doing was serving the community. It was heart-wrenching. We sat here and we took it. I'm not into whatever happened. All I want to say, let's move forward. Like you said, they've decided. If you trust them, then let it be. Stop asking for a resignation. It's cruel. He's sitting right here. He's a human being with a family. Let's all put up our big pants and say, yes, we have a mistake here. We're moving forward. Let him see. Maybe in 8 months he could do a phenomenal job. Let him win our respect. Can't we do that?
Oh.
No? We can't? Well, that's a shame because like every one of you have a skeleton.
There's no back and forth between speakers and
But I say,
Yeah.
I'm talking about the humanity part of it.
You're basically,
That's what it is.
hold on a second. You're basically
You gotta shut
addressing
it
the
down.
board here. So please don't get into it with the audience.
Yeah.
That's not what we're here for today.
Here to make you upset.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
But-
Let's move forward. Let's give him 8 months of a chance. If you don't want to vote for him, great, then show it at the polls. All right? But give him 8 months to maybe see if he can turn things around and he can win your respect. You're still gonna see him in the schools. You're still gonna see him in town. He's still gonna be, coach for baseball. Let's just move on a little bit. Can we have a little bit of compassion? Yes, if you feel betrayed, I get it. That's terrible. But you've been betrayed by a lot of other people, I bet. You said no one's ever been betrayed. Let's just say, okay, Brian, I hope that you can show in 8 months that you could show everyone what a great guy you are and that we can move forward and we can just breathe. The world is crazy. We as Pine Plains need to be stronger. All right. Thank you for your time.
I just want to say thank you for that. And I really respect Brian for sitting here and taking all that. But we are public servants and this is what we signed up for. And this is why we're here. And we also if I do something that anyone feels like I should resign over, I want them to tell me to my face that they feel as I should resign. Because we are working for you and everyone in this town gets a voice as we just saw. So, but I'm sitting right next to Brian and I have great respect for him sitting here listening to everybody, but this is a job. This is part of our job here.
It is. Yeah, you have to come up here if you want to speak.
We're gonna
Really want to hear what
hey,
you have to say.
We're gonna move on from public
Okay.
comment. We're moving on from public comment.
Before we do that, I just want to say one thing. I know it appears to everyone that we as a board have taken an adversarial approach to Brian. And I don't think anybody here dislikes Brian. And I think we all recognize his altruistic nature. He's done a lot for this community with the fire department. And I tell you, there's probably nobody in this town that goes on more fire calls than Brian Walsh. So, please recognize that. And then we certainly do. So we just had to deal with what we had to deal with. And I think we're going to try to move forward one way or the other. And now I think it's time to move on.
We're closing
done.
public comment.
Close the public.
I'm gonna go into department reports, highway.
Hey, Carl, I hate to do this to you, and I know you usually stand in the back. Could you come up here today? Because it's large, we cannot hear you, and we've got this darn camera going. And they want to see that handsome beard you're sporting there, so.
Let me fix my hair. All right, signs on parking on Smith Street. There's no parking from Academy Street, 20-foot in. And then it's a 1 hour parking from there back to 82. We're refreshing the signs and new signs are gonna be refreshed on Academy Street over there. There's people pulling in on Smith Street, nosing in or backing in. It's strictly side parking. Okay, that was my one complaint.
Hey, Carl, in regards to that, we gotta adjust that sign where it says 1 hour parking.
Yep.
Because the way you read it when you pull in, it's 1 hour parking from there to Academy.
Yeah, but there's supposed to be and we're putting it up tomorrow, no parking at the stop sign, from the stop sign forward.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Wanted to talk to the board about the brush pile. Was hoping we can get that squared away sooner. And then I wanted to request an executive meeting about staffing later on.
What are we doing about the brush pile?
Yeah.
can get it.
What did we decide?
Me and Brian talked about that the other day, and I think it would be nice not to have it there in the winter. But to get there, we would have to do 2 sessions of it. And that pile is already pretty large, so
It's
that
massive right now.
so like if we'll take a look at it financially, but potentially we could do it earlier.
Yep.
And then we would come back in October, November,
Do where it's at.
see where it's at, and reevaluate if we wanted to come in the fall. So then you think that people are bringing most of their brush in come the spring anyway, so then maybe we can have a kind of a clear pad there for a
So,
longer time.
so due to the size of it, Carl, why don't you call and get them on the calendar? Because I don't know how far out they're gonna be.
All right. That'd be great.
They could be all the way until April, May. And by that time, that pile is gonna be twice as big and you're not gonna be able
And
to
then
move it
we're gonna
around.
be. So when they barrel grind it, we have to get rid of chips. If folks want it, they can come get it, but there's so much chips that we have to get it out of there, and that takes away from whatever we're in the middle of doing. Most of the time, we're shimming the roads, which is fixing and patching any damage of the roads so it can be prepped and ready for oiling and stoning later on if the road's set up for that.
When you say get them there, who's they?
It's Rancourt, right?
Yeah.
Rancourt. There's a couple other people with tub grinders in the area too, if we wanted to get other
We'll get
prices
we'll get our
and
first
see what they are.
See what it is, but Rancort's been very accommodating to us and quick.
Question? You're paying someone to come and chip this stuff, right? Have you thought about composting? Maybe we could compost some of it.
Have you seen the size of that?
The size is 3 times bigger than this room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turn it into wood chips?
That's what
we're
it is.
talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah,
Yeah.
yes,
That's what it is,
what
yeah.
we're talking about. Yep. That's what we're doing.
No, for that.
Continue.
So other than that, wanted to talk about staffing and an executive meeting, and that's all I got.
On that same note, Carl, we have a letter of retirement for Dan McGee, effective April 17th.
Yep.
So I need a motion to accept this.
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks,
Thank you
Carl.
very much.
Thank
See
you,
you in
Carl.
executive session.
Thank you.
Did everybody receive the building inspector's report?
Yeah.
Yes.
Total new homes this year, 0. CO searches this month, 1. Site inspections this month, 7. Property maintenance this month, 4. Total permits to date, 8. Water engineer,
Come on, Ray, you know you want the attention.
I missed my seat.
I know. Warren stole it.
No, that's a warranty, no. Monthly report was submitted to the Department of Health. Our flows continue to be high. However, they have been dropping over the past 2.5 weeks as we've been finding and dealing with some water leaks. I've been out doing a leak detection survey within the district, and so far we're able to find and repair 3 leaks, which I'll mention later in the report. Water meter maintenance, 1 meter was replaced, 1 meter was rebuilt. There was 1 utility mark out that was performed this past month on an emergency mark out basis for a pole replacement due to an accident. Both chlorinator pumps were cleaned and then placed back into service. There was a water leak that was resolved on South Main Street. That was located on a customer service line on their side of the curb shut off. They actually replaced their entire service line into the building because it had several, very large holes into it. Second water leak was repaired on North Main Street. That leak was located on the town side of the curb shut off, so we are responsible for that repair. That repair was done within 2 hours, and then that was placed back in the service for that residence. This past Tuesday, there was an additional one. It's not located in my report because it just occurred on Tuesday. After I submitted my report, there was an additional water service line that was found leaking on Academy Street, and that was in a vacant, unoccupied building. So as I've mentioned before, again, with the cold temperatures that we had this past winter, if anybody knows of any unoccupied buildings that remain and they know the person that owns it, if you could get a hold of them, just have them take a look inside of the building, see that there's no water leaking. This one was pretty substantial.
Wow.
And it was running for some time. The first quarter meter readings will take place at the end of March. We'll then be sending out the bills at the beginning of April, and we'll include a copy of the 2025 annual water quality report to each one of the customers. We've also provided a copy to Amanda, and she was kind enough to place that onto the town website, so folks can view that online as well. And then we're also going to have some hard copies here at the town hall for anybody that's interested. Other than that, anybody that's on town water, if you're down in your basement and you happen to hear any noise by your water line or anything like that, please reach out to us. That will help us try to locate water leaks as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Police Department.
You all have my written, instead of reading a bunch of digits, I've got a statement to read to you. Pine Plains Police Department proudly serves and protects the town of Pine Plains. All officers hold this responsibility in the highest regard. Regarding the flock camera situation, Sergeant Belleville worked in partnership with our department, implementing many effective new policies, raising our standards beyond where they had previously been. Sergeant Belleville acted with good intentions and a strong commitment to the community, striving to make Pine Plains a safer place. He can consistently look ahead toward the future, ensuring the department stayed up to date with the latest equipment and training. Pine Plains has long been among the first to adopt these advancements, thanks in part to his efforts. His influence continues to be reflected in our current department leadership and will carry forward as we continue to grow and improve. I stand by Sergeant Belleville and all my officers of Pine Plains Police Department as officer in charge.
I have a question for you. Who was his immediate supervisor?
Who is
Belleville?
Me.
You. And why do you think he would sign a contract like that on his own?
I thought that, I think that I talked to him today and he said towards the end, there was like spaces in between his correspondence with them that was months long. And of course, he resigned, moved to South Carolina. So he had nothing more to do with it. So,
But in the beginning, the question really is why do you think he would sign the contract on his own?
Because I think he thought he was signing a contract to keep exploring this block camera system.
That contract was pretty clear about a 2-year contract and $80,000.
Well,
His signature appears at the bottom of that.
Who was gonna pay for that? Mike?
Well, I don't know, but the question really is why do you think he would sign that without?
I can't.
I did speak to him about that. And he said that he wouldn't have the authority to sign anything. And then he pointed higher up and I asked him who, and he said, oh, I can't remember.
Well, I
So
didn't.
kind of curious. So, you know, that leaves you and the board above him. So, I mean, it's just, we're left here wondering, you know, what
I
happened
know I
there.
didn't sign it.
All right, well, I think,
Did he speak to you about it? Did he ask you to authorize his signature?
No. No.
but you knew about the process, what was going on.
I pretty much told him sometime from going to the Dutchess County Chiefs meetings that Dutchess County was gonna take over this flock system and there'd be no money spent by the town. So it's like, what's the sense of pursuing that when they're gonna put them up? If you go in any other town besides here, you're gonna be on flock cameras.
Did he ask your permission before he signed it?
No.
So you're saying you had no knowledge of him signing it, no knowledge of the amount in the contract?
No.
Very interesting. All right, well, that's all I've got.
Is she looking to do anything with it?
No, we've moved on from public comment. I think I don't want to.
You're welcome always to email
Yes.
anyone.
Please ask us if you have a question, send us an email, whatever, but we have to get on with the meeting. I think that was just.
Okay.
You can speak about it.
Yeah. Everybody received the animal control report.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Current month, 5.5 hours of admin training, call out hours. Shelter maintenance hours 2. That's all he had this month. Recreation.
Dear town board members, as we discussed in December 2025, came aboard, we're about to come aboard. I said I would stay on as the town recreation director into the new year. Stay on, as we had talked about, to help out and keep things going. I believe I have found a new candidate, like we talked about, and have been somewhat vetting her from my standpoint. You do have applicants that have applied. One in particular that have been talking to is pretty much a subject matter expert in grants for youth. She's overseeing other departments within our recreation department. I think she'd be a good candidate. She did a great job as beach director. She's has excellent writing skills and has done so for the Franklin Central School District with a few grants that she's written for their programs. She has access to volunteers, especially camp and beach workers, which is what we need for summer jobs. I think you should meet with her, engage her abilities, and as she has spoken at length regarding program improvements to me, for our youth basketball program, she brought a concession stand this year to every Saturday. That it was a real hit. And what she did was she had volunteer groups, classes in the school. They would set up a table with refreshments and stuff like that, and that's how they made money for their class. It was great. It was brilliant. Anyways, I appreciate your support over the past 2 years. You know, I'm always here to help you. And when she comes on board, if it's her or whoever it is, I'll help out for a month or so.
We'd like to meet her.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I've mentioned to you, a couple of you, and Trevor knows her, and I think you should talk to her.
Well, you've done a great job. We sure appreciate all.
Thank you.
you've given
Thank you,
us.
bro.
Thank you very much. Excellent job.
CAC.
So beginning on Wednesday, March 11th, and continuing probably even tonight, at least 5 nights so far, the Pine Plains Conservation Advisory Council helped coordinate over 23 Pine Plains volunteers for what is called Big Night. If you don't know, Big Night is an incredible time when all the amphibians break their hibernation and cross roads. And we're out there helping them do that. They go across the roads to our vernal pools, of which we have many. Pine Plains was mentioned in today's Governor's Office of Environmental press release. What a great job we were doing. I don't have the exact number of amphibians that we have identified and cataloged for the census of the state. I think Kevin Walsh himself has at least identified 100 of them, but we're sort of collecting all of that. The biggest sightings were multiple small tree frogs, including wood frogs and peepers, which if you go out on a warm night, you can now hear. Yellow spotted salamanders, 4 toad salamanders, and Jefferson blue spotted salamanders, apparently along with 1 snake and 1 crayfish. But the total is being finalized, and our counts are all added to the Dutchess County count, so you begin to understand the health of our environment with the number of amphibians that are passing through. So it's a great night. We hope to continue. Many more people were interested than could come, so it's very iffy. It's weather dependent. There's a lot of like, it's tonight. No, no, no. So again, if you got caught in that, we apologize, but keep coming. We love kids are happy to do it. It's just a great night. I also wanted you to know that the CAC received bureaucracy pre-notification of a pending grant award of $54,209 in response to a grant that was written by many of the CAC members in addition with help from our Choice Words, our Pine Plains grant writer. It will be a 3-year period grant to conduct a Pine Plains natural resource inventory. Our wrinkle is that we don't get official notification until the state comptroller's office approves the Pine Plains procurement record. We expect that in late May, but we're prohibited from getting out in front of New York State. So hopefully New York State will announce it and then we can celebrate. So thank you.
Excellent. Good job.
Beautification committee.
So I'll provide the report for the beautification committee. The co-chairs are not present. The beautification committee met one time and looking forward to spring projects. The planters are not ready to plant yet, but the trees are out of them, so will be soon. The design has not yet been completely approved on the back of the Welcome to Pine Plains signs. Still, the co-chair is still working with the designer, and so that's in the works. The committee is looking into a soft surface for the walkway in the park. It would be, because it can't be concrete or pavers or something like that, because it needs to be flexible. There's too much shifting of the ground, apparently. So we're looking at the type of soft surface that is used in playgrounds. It's recycled rubber. So one of the committee members is looking into that and getting some pricing and some ideas on that. We have 2 guests came to our meeting, and I would like to, if now is the right time, to propose their appointment to the committee, or shall we wait for new business?
How many members do we currently have?
We have 2 vacancies.
Okay.
Let's do it and get it over.
Yep.
with.
Okay, so one is Nicole Walla, and she has a background in architectural design and marketing. She is a sculptor, and she's new to town and has expressed a great interest in participating in the beautification committee. The other one is Matthew LeBaron. He is he does creative coaching and plans community events, and he has expertise in social media and design skills. Both of them attended our meeting and fit right in, participated right away. So I would like to propose that we add them to the committee.
What year terms are they?
I don't know.
We'll vote on
I
it.
didn't look it up. I didn't look it up. I think it's a 2-year
Can I get
term.
Can I get a motion on these 2
Oh.
members
So
to
moved.
fall into the remaining spots? Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. Thank you. So welcome to those 2 members.
Yeah. Exciting.
So, kind of a subset of the beautification committee, the ad hoc beautification community day committee met this month also. There are a lot of exciting things going on. I talked about it in the newsletter a little bit. But what I would like to present tonight is some funding proposals. One of the things that requires funding, and the committee needs to sign a contract with Building Block Bounce House for a bounce house and a inflatable corn maze. And I spoke
That's about.
I think it's so appropriate for Pine Plains,
No,
right?
it's not.
I think it'll be great.
Well, having a horn made, yeah, but.
Yeah. And so so I did speak with Brian Coons about accessing financial support from the recreation line, and Brian is in support of it. So I would like to then present to the board to approve a total of $1,049.97 for those two things that will probably be set up behind the library in the grass that the church owns currently. We have permission to do that. Probably be set up there because there are other activities for kids that are gonna be happening in the library. So I would like to propose.
Brian,
that.
what line item are you taking that out of? Alright,
I do have a suggestion that before it goes up, you have some brush hog that area.
Yeah.
And walk it. Look for any large rocks, maybe construction debris that could have been left there from when we did the library.
Okay.
Anything like that, just so we don't pop the.
If that happens.
And then we also need to do something about an insurance rider,
I think it's flying around.
correct?
I'll take care of
Okay,
that. We have coverage, it's just a matter of putting that on,
okay,
cause we have it for the parade of lights.
okay, so there's that. Did we vote on that? We're good?
Is it? No.
No.
Can I get a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. And then the other expenditure has to do with printing, the mailing of the cards announcing Community Day, flyers, signs, and hopefully a map. And Brian, you and I spoke about them using more and more in Millerton because the town has an account there, and the cost would be no more than $1,200.
You gonna take that as a celebration line item?
Or the supervisor PS, your call. You had said that.
Not to PS, the contract.
Contract.
Yeah,
So-
that's fine. Can I get a motion on that?
Sure. I move that.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Is that all you have under beautification?
That's it. That's it. We need more volunteers for Community Day.
Carl?
On staffing issue, if we could put a thing in the mail.
I have new business. Yep. Old business, CSC grant update.
On smart community.
So, I did reach out to, ask about the status of it. We were awarded a grant for $15,000. And I did hear back, that the procurement for this round is currently with the comptroller. This is probably echoing the same thing that Gail, had found out. But they can't move ahead with it with the contract negotiations until they receive approval. They think that it will be by the end of April. So, as Ray would say, it's a process. So that's the Climate Smart Community Grant. The TAP grant was submitted. I mentioned that earlier. It was submitted on March 12th, and we just wait and see.
We have a follow-up Tuesday.
Right, we have with our grant writer.
ADU.
ADU grant. So the ADU grant, the flyer that I had at the last meeting said it was extended through February 27th. That was incorrect. They finally fixed the flyer. It's extended through just the end of March, this March. So I spoke to the person at Hudson River Housing that is managing the grant, and she was able to share with me that we have in Pine Plains, we have three applications that are moving forward and are ready to be evaluated. A couple of the ones who had expressed interest from the start have dropped off. She's going to be reaching out to them. I also asked her to reach out to the people I know of two people that have applied, but I asked her to reach out to the other people and let them know that if they want assistance in any way, to contact me. She can't reveal who they are because of their privacy issues. But so if anybody out there needs help with the ADU thing, let me know. They will select 48 participants by, well, March 31st, but it'll take 2 weeks for them to review. Currently they have 63 applicants. So she believes that by April 15th, we will all know who those applicants are that have moved forward. So that's that. So I have current and accurate information if anybody would like it. That's it. What's the next grant? That's it.
That's it.
I'm done for right now.
Okay, new business, can I get a motion to accept Ann Noon's resignation from the bar?
So moved.
I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Perfect, that was.
2 equals 4.
Can I get,
Library update.
can I get a motion?
Can I have a library update?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, a couple of things. The library, has very successful Wednesday, kid club programs. They have, anywhere between 25 and 28 kids coming on those Wednesdays, which is great. And if you ever visit the library on a Wednesday afternoon, it's really hop and it's loud in a good way. When spring break arrives, and that particular Wednesday, I believe it's April 1st. The library would like to use the downstairs of the building to do what they call a cardboard day, where the kids build big things out of cardboard. Deanne was actually able to, was generous enough to supply some cute pictures of cardboard day. And so they need a big area. They've been using the area, the children's room area, but it's pretty small and there are a lot of other activities that go on in there. When we went in the downstairs, and Deanne has a staff person that is very willing to corridor, sort of do barriers so that the kids cannot touch any of the books for the book sale or the leftover wrestling equipment. The mats are still on the floor, but that works because it's at least a soft surface for the kids, but they will, like make sure that there aren't any trip hazards with the mats. So the library is asking permission as a trial to hold cardboard day in the downstairs of the library.
All they have to do is fill out one of those use forms like they fill out for upstairs.
Does that make sense? Okay. And I did go in the basement finally. And boy, it needs some attention. Brian Coons, are you still here?
Yes.
The downstairs of the library basement, huh?
I'm glad you said that to me, because I was on the library board with Diana. It was a good time. I made a lot of friends with the friends of the library. And I love her dearly, but Pat and Eddie beats me up every time he sees me with cleaning out the bottom of that library.
Okay, go Pat.
So I think, are the friends of the library behind this keeping the mats? Because they're always on me to take them out of there. I don't know who they belong to.
Wrestling team.
You know?
Which I don't think exists. So anyway, that's a discussion.
What do you need done?
It needs a major cleanup.
I don't think it's.
Maybe you could get some volunteers.
You have to keep in the basement. Get me down there, take a look at it.
Just take the elevator.
Make it in that back.
Good.
Yeah. So I did mention about the book sale, so if you want to donate books, that's a great thing. The library is doing a lot of really great creative stuff for Community Day, so thank you for that. Some of the building issues, the maintenance issues are that the gutters are full, backed up, leak, like the water's coming over and then there's ice on the landing where you go up the steps, so that's kind of a dangerous position. So the gutters need to be cleaned out, and that seems like it's a pretty big job, like a cherry picker kind of
Yes,
job.
yes.
And then, the gutters on the north side are growing small trees out of them.
Good luck trying to get a machine in there to get that.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, have the gutters ever been cleaned out before? Do we know?
Couldn't tell you.
Okay, so they really need to be cleaned out because it's a safety issue and yeah. And then the ramp approach from the driveway. So if you're coming with a stroller or a wheelchair and approaching the ramp, there's a pretty big lip there. So that's hard to get over with a wheelchair, especially a walker or something like that. And not my area of expertise, maybe yours, Carl, but maybe some cold patch or something could solve that problem. Thank you. And then the library would like to schedule a workshop meeting with us, the town board, and Warren to discuss their lease, which is up in 2028, which seems like a long time away, but they would like to discuss it sooner rather than later, and they're proposing a May 18th date, which would be the Monday before the May board meeting,
Monday before.
May 18th.
I may still be out of town.
So, I mean, we can check everyone's schedule and figure that out. Yes? Okay,
Good all?
I think that's it.
All right. I need a motion to approve a newspaper article for a labor position, full-time permanent position for Madeline to post in the newspaper
So moved.
For the highway department.
for the highway
Yeah.
department, sorry, yeah.
So moved.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And are we now gonna vote on this resolution? Because we did hear public comment.
Yeah, can I finish this first?
Oh, sorry, yeah. I thought you were done. Sorry.
Can I get a motion to accept Jen Blackburn as the beach director for the beach?
I'll make that motion.
Well, we haven't really met her. I don't, I've
The
heard.
the
beach director.
she's been the
Beach
beach
she's
director.
done for-
Okay, all right.
She's done it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Need a motion to approve the purchase of 25 tons of deluxe infield mix for the ball fields from Dunright Sand and Gravel.
We do that every year, right?
Yeah,
Does it come out of the recreation budget?
yes.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Usually 25 tons is not enough sometimes.
25 tons, that's a lot.
For what? Yeah, $2,095.50. Okay, anybody else have any new business?
No, I don't.
Not yet, no.
Can I get a motion? Oh, wait a minute, hang on a minute. A motion to approve the resolution automated license plate readers and public safety camera technology.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
That's the one that we just came up. with.
Yeah.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Supervisor Walsh.
Yeah.
Councilwoman Birchall.
Aye.
Councilman Roush.
Aye.
Councilwoman Cisco.
Aye.
Councilman Wall.
Aye.
Can I get a motion to go to executive session with Carl? You good with going with Warren first? With the town attorney and the assessor to discuss, tax exterior? Yep,
I'll make that motion.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right, and then after that, can I get a motion to go into executive session with Carl to do in regards to, personnel?
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any decision gonna be made? Any decisions you're gonna need? Can I get a motion to, adjourn,
Doing it.
or come out of executive session, I'm sorry.
I'll make that.
make the motion.
Can I get a second?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.